Hello everyone, we're still at the Den. Jesus, it's 7 o'clock, Pad. It's 7 o'clock. It's been a long day. I'm sat here, of course, with Paddy Davitt and a lion. Thanks, Dave. Dave Freezer doing top work with the camera as always.
Someone sing a song from the Lion King.
A song from the Lion King. Dave, that's your role in about 5 minutes. Here, get yourself ready. It still rather smells of Daniel Farker here. He's a gloriously smelling man.
This bottle, if we had smell-o-vision, this bottle smells of Daniel Farker's aftershave, I hasten to add.
Which would normally be lovely, but I think after what we've just had to sit through and cover, we're left probably a bit bemused and concerned. So I've had my say already on the PinkUn YouTube
What did you
channel.
say, my friend?
I said if this carries on, they're going to get relegated.
Did you?
But you know, clearly, you'd like to think after 5 games it won't carry on. But how worried are you, Paddy, after seeing that?
Well, it's actually, for me, it isn't almost what has gone on there. It's more a continuation of the same theme, you know. And they could have got whacked like this at Fulham the opening day. They were so open down the channels. They played the free that day. Even mid-game had to change it tactically to stem the tide. And Fulham didn't convert their superiority. Norwich got an excellent point, and then on we go. But QPR aside, it just seems to be a cycle of regression, really. And today was bad because it was a team who've just come up, haven't won a game yet in this division. And the way Norwich capitulated in the fashion we've seen in parts of all the other games, deeply troubling. And more so for the man who was sat here probably about 2 hours ago. He looked like a man who probably had realised the enormity of the task. And it's going to be a long international break. And obviously some interesting days between now and the deadline on Thursday.
Yes.
Because you see a performance like that and you do feel, yes, I know Tim Closer isn't quite back in the mix. They've bought the boy Raggett at Lincoln, who I believe's got man of the match today. He's gone away. They've let him go back there till January at the earliest.
Oh, we're back.
We're back. We've ignored the Wi-Fi and gone straight onto the 4G.
That's just
that's
a metaphor for Norwich, I think. Not only today, but the rest of the season, possibly.
What a day it's been! What a day!
Intermittent.
I mean, the guys at Millwall will tell you this result was coming, and that you know, they've been playing well, and they were going to hit someone hard. I mean, Norwich were clearly prepared for it. Daniel Farker spoke really well on Friday.
Were they?
Well,
it's one thing expecting it, but have you got the ammunition to deal with it? And frankly, they haven't at the minute. Because
is it the players though, or is it the selection?
Well, it's both, isn't it? Have you got the players to deal with Steve Morrison, who's a rough and tumble type? We saw that in the 2 years he was in Norwich. Refinement wise, you wouldn't have said he was an effective striker. Yet at this level, physically, he just again bullied the 2 Norwich centre backs. Much like Graben did and Vaughan did for Sunderland, much like the QPR lads did, but they managed to find a way to resist that evening. Increasingly, you think they haven't. It's the players. They haven't got the players. You know, you could tweak formations, you could tinker with it, but ultimately, how did Millwall score their first goal? It was a straight ball, diagonal, hit towards Morrison. Frank has gone for it. Morrison's won the header. It's dropped to Gregory, his strike partner, in the Norwich box, totally unmarked, and he's got all the time in order to slot it past Gunn. That's just unacceptable levels of defending. Yeah, what's going on here, Dave?
Dave's enjoying watching the video while he does it.
Dave's bored. Dave's bored.
So you try and get the comments.
So ultimately, it feels like we've regressed to last season. All the ills of last season defensively, we're seeing it still here, albeit with a new head coach, a new coaching team, a lot of new players. There's 1 or 2, you know, staples from the previous era, and there's a guy we'll probably get onto who seemed to be the ire of a lot of fans today here, Russell Martin. But it doesn't feel like we've moved on at all. It feels, if anything, they're regressing. And I know it's early days. I know it's a work in progress, but I'm sorry, if the alarm bells aren't ringing tonight inside that football club, when you've come to Millwall with greatest respect and you've made it life so easy for them to get up and running and get their season up as it was. I would be fearful. I would be fearful because I don't think it's a case of working on the training ground with them lads. I just think there's too many bang average players. That's what it boils down to.
But that's a major worry, and I guess it filters into the fact that we haven't seen any real defensive improvement. You know, in flashes possibly against QPR, but you're talking about different games, and then you're only talking about the second half as well. And obviously, it depends what you're coming up against and how they deal with it too. Dave, go on.
Got some comments coming in. Barry Dale says Frank is not Championship standard. and John Missieges, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm afraid, who can replace husband. So that sort of follows on from what you were just saying. And a few people also asking, have we seen about Jaap Stam mentioning Nelson Oliveira?
Yes, yeah, we did see that pop up, which is ideal after a result like this for that to pop up.
Well,
on
the fact that Jaap Stam is offered that, we don't know how the press conference at Reading's taken place, but the fact that he's been quite openly offering up the name of Nelson Oliveira, that tells me that there's a major desire on Reading's part, and if they can pull it into the public domain, then as we're discussing it now, that'll get back to, you can guarantee, Oliveira and his representatives worrying a few days ahead, because if you're Nelson Oliveira, you're looking at Norwich City. Do you think they're going to get anywhere near it in the Championship this season? No. Do you think Reading, having got to the playoff final last season, are a better bet? Possibly. So as much as we're touched on their incomings, can you keep your better players? Because if I'm Nelson Oliveira, I'm thinking it's going to be a long old season playing at the top end of that team, because they're not good enough. They're not good enough, and I don't think it is sufficient just to say patience, work in progress, because we've had 5 league games now. That should be enough time to see some small baby steps in terms of progression. We're not seeing that at all. We're seeing the opposite. They're so easy to score against. The spaces, Harrison Reed at one point, he was literally patrolling an area probably the length of the breadth of the halfway line, because they were so open. Whenever the ball broke down, you feared this was going to get very messy again. The amount of times they looked to be overrun, it was either a poor decision from a Millwall player, or Norwich just got back last ditch. But there's no cohesive plan there that I can see under this head coach. There's no what is he trying to do? And okay, they're falling the wrong side of it. They're just so far short of what is required in the Championship at present that you have to be concerned. You have to be concerned. As I say, big few days ahead in terms of the window, but then maybe more so for the rest of the season. Can Farke now sit down 2 weeks, no games, bit of a headspace, and try and come up with some sort of plan moving forward, because that plan isn't working and will not work.
I mean, there are coaching issues too, because if you look at the 4th goal from a corner, zonal defending is not going to help Norwich when a centre-back is running on to a ball against 5 defenders that are standing there basically trying to be aggressive whilst doing a standing jump. I mean, I don't really get it. I've got to be honest. I don't know if I'm missing something really simple.
It feels like, I mean, the degree of difficulty for what Norwich are trying to do was tough enough in terms of new head coach, an overseas appointment, doesn't really know the English football, brings in pretty much his own backroom team, loses the British element that was in his backroom team. I think 31 players turnover, not only just first team but predominantly first team.
Oh. Dave!
Hello.
I think the Wi-Fi is desperately telling us to go. Are we going to get logged in?
Yeah, no worries, mate. Yeah.
We'll be on our way.
Cheers, mate.
Say bye, Dave.
Bye.
Say bye, Pad.
It's been emotional.